Insiders on the Run. Alex Jones and the GCN Radio Network.
Alex Jones here to tell you about how you can help spread liberty worldwide while also enjoying what I have found to be the best tasting 100% organic coffee on the planet. For more than a decade, my favorite coffee has come from the high mountains of southern Mexico, where the Chiapas farmers grow their unique shade-grown Arabica beans. We have now managed to secure these sought-after beans in a highly customized blend. Discover and try a bag of the Patriot Blend 100% organic coffee at InfoWarsLife.com. This coffee gives you a long, smooth pick-me-up for hours without the headaches and heartburn that so many other coffees give me personally. Hands down, this is my favorite coffee, and it's taken us years to secure connections directly to the Chiapas Mexican farmers. Drop by the site today, order a bag or two, and I don't think you're going to be disappointed. Available in original or with our Immune Support Infusion Blend. You will be supporting a free press, all the while enjoying a truly great-tasting cup of my favorite coffee. Available at InfoWarsLife.com. The facts are in. The studies are legion. Sodium fluoride and other toxic members of the fluoride family are devastating the health and cognitive ability of the American people. So why are the social engineers adding it to the water? Simple. Dumb down the host population that the parasitic technocracy is feeding on. We may not have been able to get fluoride out of the water supply yet, but we can help to get it out of our bodies. I am extremely excited to announce the exclusive InfoWars Life Fluoride Shield formulation, fusing 6 of the best documented ingredients from around the world to help the body remove not just toxic fluoride residues from the body, but a whole host of toxic substances. Let's take a stand against the globalists by blocking their poisons with Fluoride Shield. I use Fluoride Shield every day. Secure your Fluoride Shield and other pioneering formulations at InfoWarsLife.com today. Let's start cleansing our bodies now and support the InfoWar at the same time. That's InfoWarsLife.com. Hi folks, Alex Jones here with some important information. I want to tell you about Matt Redhawk and his team of patriots over at My Patriot Supply. Several years ago, Matt was sitting in his 2-bedroom apartment, frustrated with the direction this country was headed and the charlatans willing to sell us out for a quick buck. Deciding to take action, a company run by patriots for patriots was born. My Patriot Supply has never taken a loan or accepted outside funding. They now operate 2 distribution facilities and employ over 50 hardworking American men and women. It is rare to find companies who practice what they preach. And that's why I stock my pantry with high-quality storable foods from My Patriot Supply. Go to mypatriotsupply.com/Alex today for special offers on emergency food storage, or call their preparedness specialist at 866-229-0927. That's 866-229-0927. Do business with someone who shares your values. mypatriotsupply.com/Alex.
We now take you live to the Central Texas Command Center in the heart of the resistance. It's Alex Jones.
So here's some of the news up on Infowars.com. Some of it I've mentioned, some of it I haven't. Report, Japan's secretly developing nuclear weapons. We're going to be getting into that. Rockefeller Brothers and Pepsi are the main groups publicly behind funding Taking Your Guns with Bloomberg. Isn't that nice? So what should you do to the Rockefeller Brothers Foundation? Well, they're tax exempt. Try to get their tax exemption taken away. They clearly are trying to violate people's God-given rights, civil rights, you name it, as a racketeering organization. And don't drink any filthy PepsiCo products where they do their flavor testing with fetal cells. I mean, they're just a total agency of evil, literally. Another J.P. Morgan banker leaps to his death. That makes it 7. And it's been more than 20 if you count them all up. All the other bankers jumping to their deaths the last few months. Very suspicious. Expert warns of hyperinflation. The American way of life will be destroyed. I want to get into that article. Public schools are preparing American children for a life in a police state. Excellent article. U.S. and EU are paying Ukrainian rioters and protesters. There's evidence of that. I wouldn't say U.S. and EU. That is, criminal bankers that have hijacked the EU and U.S. have us in the exploitation phase using our money and treasure and intel to try to bring down the rest of the world. There's the proper translation. Another one, radio station faked viral homophobic birthday invite. We're attempting to spur healthy discourse on a highly passionate topic. Yeah, the so-called left, the so-called liberals are always false flagging everything. In fact, most of these cross burnings in yards, most of these church burnings, most of the swastikas on the dorm wall. In fact, I don't think I've seen a case with the dorm stuff that you see every few weeks. It always turns out that it was staged. False flag. Because that's the new religion at the universities, is you don't go learn how to get a job or learn how to be good in business or learn how to be an entrepreneur or learn anything that's useful. You just learn how to obsess over whatever protected group you are. And you learn how white people are the devil. And everything else is wonderful. Like we did a report on it of gay false flag attacks where we, Mark Dice actually did a video on that. And I guess we covered it. But there it is up on Infowars, Infowars.com. But I do want to open the phones up specifically on topics like what's happening in the economy. I'd like to hear from you on that. What do you think of this admiral, former top admiral, 4-star admiral, that's as high as it gets, coming out on Lou Dobbs, Admiral James Lyons, saying the attack on the American consulate in Benghazi was the result of a bungled abduction attempt, the first stage of an international prisoner exchange that would have ensured the release of Omar Abdel Rahman, the blind sheik. But something went horribly wrong with the October surprise, although the Obama administration intentionally gutted secretly at the consulate prior to the staged kidnapping. Former Navy SEALs Tyrone Woods and Glenn Doherty disobeyed direct orders to stand down, saved American lives, single-handedly killed scores of attackers. The attackers, believing that the Obama administration had betrayed them, tortured Ambassador Stevens and dragged his body through the streets. It's clear Benghazi Gate is only a small piece of a much larger operation, an attempt to conceal what the New American calls the Obama administration's full role in helping violent jihadists and self-styled al-Qaeda terrorists. It just goes on. It just goes on from there. So there he is saying it was a staged prisoner exchange. And really, you look at it in hindsight and all of our sources, that's basically what it was. Getting most of the staff out, then trying to shut them down so they wouldn't talk. And see, that's what's good about this story. It's a very sad story, but the good news is that most of the government's not evil. Most of the government's not corrupt. In fact, they're really hardworking, upstanding people, especially in the military. I mean, they're not trying to hire idiots for some of those more specialized positions. And it's small criminal networks operating from the top. This happens throughout history. Or rogue groups throughout the structure, but as you get higher up, it gets easier, who are doing this, and they're always getting their operations blown because other people who aren't criminals come out and speak out about it. They had destroyer captains come back and tell the San Diego Herald Tribune in 1964, when their rotation ended, when the ships came back 6 months later, it was in the paper. I've got a copy of it. I've shown it on air before. You can look it up. It was never a rumor that the Gulf of Tonkin, oh, there's a conspiracy theory the Gulf of Tonkin was staged to get us into the Vietnam War with the Gulf of Tonkin resolution. Well, no, it became a conspiracy theory and a rumor when those two captains and others went public, saying our ships were not attacked. This appeared to be a provocation to get us into the war. Well, as you know, on the 40th anniversary in 2004, they released hundreds, well, they released thousands of hours, but there were hundreds of hours just on the start of the official start of the Vietnam War in 1964 with LBJ and Robert McNamara. And they're showing you some transcripts of that on screen right now if you're a TV viewer. But boom, we were right again. Well, we weren't right again. We didn't look into a crystal ball and say the Gulf of Tonkin was staged. I remember being on Discovery Channel shows and others where they would go, Jones thinks everything's staged. From the Maine in 1898 to the Gulf of Tonkin in 1964 to blah, blah, blah. I don't think they were staged. It's come out they were staged. It's kind of like Jones thinks we orbit the sun. No, I don't think that. Jones thinks water is H2O. I'm not smart, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just informed on things that matter. What I am is instinctive. I instinctively don't like to be a slave. I instinctively take it personally. I instinctively get aggressive. I instinctively have defense mechanisms that activate in me when I see total tyranny taking over. I was a mainline libertarian Republican in 95 or so, and I got on air and I was given so much info by people that were more awake than me, and military people and folks that worked at the NSA and telecoms, and because nobody else was covering this stuff then. Didn't matter if I was a stuttering kid on the radio. And because of that, because I was a conduit and I came off unprofessional at times, the system thought I'll just ignore him. Just everything worked perfectly by the grace of God that I was able to get to this point. But I know their program. I've been doing this 19 years, folks, and I know their program, and I know I'm right. And I know that by the grace of God and your prayers and your action, all the good people in government, out of government, you name it, we have held this back for so long. And what I was getting at in that last rant is Benghazi, people always say, oh, if they staged Gulf of Tonkin, or if they staged 9/11, or if they staged Benghazi, or if they staged Fast and Furious, or if they staged all this stuff for the Boston bombing, it would come out. It has come out. It has come out. I mean, Cy Hirsch has gone public saying 100% of the bin Laden raid is fake and a lie. That's a 2-time Pulitzer Prize winner, who I know listens to the show. Keeps saying he'll come on for years and never does it. And I'm not criticizing him. I get being busy and not wanting to do more work, but or, you know, being criticized going on that radical show. Like, come on, man. Those labels don't work anymore. Yeah, he said one big lie was the quote. Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist slams pathetic U.S. media. So here's the issue, ladies and gentlemen. The denial is not getting us out of this. It's making it worse. And I know our listeners are not in denial, but it's now time to get the general public out of denial. And the general public is actually ready for that to a certain extent. I want to hear from you about Benghazi. I want to hear from you about Fast and Furious. I want to hear from you about the paradigm shift we see happening. And do you think it's safer? I'd like to hear from people that are critics out there. A, do you think I'm lying about all this stuff? Or B, do you think I'm interpreting it wrong? I mean, I'd like to hear your rationale. Or I'd like to hear from people out there who think that it can't be beaten, so that's why you're not speaking out. I'd like to hear from anybody on the subject of Benghazi Gate, these cover-ups, where we are as a society, Soros betting against the stock market and the debt. I've got some Second Amendment news I'm going to cover first, then go to your calls. The toll-free number to join us on air is 800-259-9231, 800-259-9231. But I do want to talk about the state of the world, where you think the world's going. What do you think the globalists are going to do to try to keep their agenda going forward? Because it is in trouble. It is stalling on many, many fronts. 800-259-9231. And I'm not saying first-time callers, but, you know, if you want to talk about, you know, the standard inside baseball kind of Cass Sunstein cognitive infiltration, infighting stuff, I'll entertain you for 10 seconds, but I got to move on. Just because it just gets really old. And I'm in a paradigm of waking up those that aren't awake, reaching out, realizing we can win, realizing we can turn the tide, realizing we're selling freedom. That's a lot more popular than tyranny. It's like selling snow cones in hell, or it's like selling an electric blanket with a battery, solar power system to the Eskimos. I mean, this is some popular stuff here. And we've got the moral high ground. We should stop being so intimidated. Look, I love the militia. It's part of the Second Amendment. But I don't like the fact that it's led so many times by weekend warrior types who are in fantasy land, and it's like paintball or something, and they meet behind the barn and they roll around in the dirt and they imagine everyone's watching them, and you know they're all paranoid and then I mean, a militia should be spending 1/3 of its time cleaning firearms, firing them, being proficient, and the rest of the time in community outreach, trying to feed the poor, wearing suits and ties, going to county commissioners and city council meetings, running for office, acting like the legitimate leadership not acting like you're part of some secret James Bond organization. By the way,